Today on Death Battle Cast, we have Cat.
Yeah.
Death Battle Cat, more
That's
like
how you win people
easy.
over. Yeah.
Wait, no. Bring the cat back, please. Please bring the
Yeah.
cat.
Cat didn't leave, Leon.
That's
Yes.
a large lad.
Yes. What is that? Is that a Maine Coon? Or is that like a
Yeah.
that's the kind of cat that I want. Is this fucking gigantic
A big
forest
man?
and creature.
Yeah.
Kind of cat that would murder me.
He was
It's
attacking.
allergic
He
to
was
cats.
like playing under my feet. So while
Yeah.
they were doing the intro, I was messing with him. So
I want to
Cool.
be buried. I want to like die by being suffocated by like 1,000 of those kinds of cats. I'm just like dying, but it's so fluffy and nice that I don't even care.
I mean, that's how I want to go.
Well, if you are listening to the audio version of this,
There was a
there was a
cat.
cute cat.
Yes.
Also, I had a whole intro planned, and the cat interrupted it because, of course it did.
That's Cat.
Hey, welcome to Death Battle Cast. I'm Ben. I'm joined by Liam, by Sam, by Jen. It's
Hello.
going to be a good episode as we're talking about some quite prolific sword wielders going at each other from some pretty cool dark fantasy manga and anime. We're going to be discussing Guts from Berserk versus Clare from Claymore.
Yeah.
Is her name Claire just
It's Claire.
because
It's just
it
Claire.
fits with Claymore?
George.
No, I mean like
No, it's Claire.
is
Don't
it supposed
listen
to be
to
like Claremore?
No.
No.
Is it not
Claymore
a
is
pun?
the name. Claymore is the name of the sword.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And,
I know.
No, her
But,
name
like,
is her name is
Claremore.
Claire. No, her name. Well, maybe, but her
Yeah.
name
There's
is
something
Claire.
there, Ben.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not gonna refute that, but her name has a special meaning in the show.
Yes.
Of like,
It's the
Maybe-
twin goddesses.
yeah, she's
No,
one of the twin
Teresa.
goddesses, Claire and
If
Teresa.
you
Not literally
read the
goddess.
manga, it will become Claire to you.
Yes, Sam. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
get it. I get it. It's like clear. It's
But I
like
do-
clear, right?
I
It's
do
fun.
think, Jen, this is one of the first times you've been on the cast, right? You've
Second.
been on
Second.
yeah.
been on
yeah.
before.
Do you
No.
just want to do a little quick introduction for the people that may not know you? Like they know Liam is a
Oh.
rude writer man and all that.
Rude
And what
Rider
do you
Man.
do?
No, I'm Jen. I work in the animation department at Rooster Teeth. I am the producer of Red vs. Blue and also the R&D producer, and I used to work on Ruby, but now I'm here.
Woohoo. And Jen is awesome. Excited to have her
Thank
here.
you.
So, and also she
I love hanging
knows
out with
more
you guys.
about Claremore than the rest of us. So
I started reading Claymore just this last week because I wanted to be able to talk about this episode on cast because this is probably like out of the like Guts matchups that I see requested. This is probably the one that I think would be the most interesting, especially with Berserk like making its return. I think it'd be a really cool one to do. So,
yeah.
if you guys agree, let us know.
Guts versus
loudly.
Claremore. Yeah, we'll see in the
That's
chat.
versus.
Yes, I mean it's
It'll
no
be that
secret at this
fair.
point. We've talked about it
no
enough
fun.
to make this a thing. The community death battles, we have definitely looked at them in terms of like whenever we're planning a new season of death battle, it's like, well, what community death battles do people really like? And this is definitely one of those that I think we might look at in the future and be like, I wonder how the reception was to that one death battle cast where we talked about Guts versus Claire. So if you want to see one of these two duelists in a death battle, share this episode around.
Yes.
But
Duelists in a death battle. I like
yeah,
it.
duelist. Anyway,
Duelist battle.
also, if you have not seen the latest episode of Desk of Death Battle, that is out right now. Very excited to see Jocelyn back in form, well, in new form, animated form, with a new office, which is still just as cramped and busy as ever, but a little bit larger. It's not a closet this time. That's good for her. But yes, the second episode of Desk of Death Battle is out. So go check that out. Lisa has been phenomenal to work with as always. Man, these these episodes are so much fun.
I
think
love
this
her
one-
energy. I love her voice and her
Yes.
energy.
Yes,
Mhm.
she really makes that show so much better than it could. Like it could be so boring if it wasn't for somebody like Lisa just putting so much energy into and making everything sound so Cool. Even the confusing shit that Madara gets up to, that honestly I could give zero fucks about. But when I watched that episode, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool.
I had
Thanks,
no
Jocelyn.
idea that Superman could shoot little Supermans out of his fingers, but you know what? Cool.
Yeah.
We all
There it
could,
is.
really. I mean, that's what I go down to the harbor, the old Brooklyn harbor, and I just start shooting little Liams out of my hands every
Oh,
Sunday. It's a tradition I have. Yeah.
That explains strangely
The size of your
explains more
apartment.
than
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
they don't let me out of here. They keep me in a very small confined space.
All right, so
Which you
here
should
is
be
how
kept in, to be fair. That does.
here's how this is gonna work. Liam is gonna be arguing for Guts. Jen is gonna be arguing for Claire, and it's their job to convince the jury who should win in a fight, in a death battle. And we will all get to vote on who should win. That includes me, includes Sam, and that includes you in the chat right now. If you are a member, you can watch this live and then interact with the chat on Tuesdays. If you're not a member, please do, and you can still check us out. But we've got a members chat that I'm seeing a lot of awesome bronze badges going up, and even some new badges, which is really cool. Thanks to everybody who's jumping in. Really, really excited to see you guys here. All right, but of course this is in a courtroom, and not all of us know everything about Guts or Claire. So if you've got something you want us to make sure we know or talk about, please let us know in the chat. We will be keeping an eye on that throughout the show. Okay, so I am excited to get to this. I've wanted to bring Guts back into Death Battle for a while. I think everybody would love to see Guts back in a Death Battle, and this one seems to be one of the more popular requests for sure. So I'm very curious to see what you guys have for us on this community Death Battle. So let's go ahead and start with opening statements. Liam, if you want to start for Guts, 60 seconds.
I would love to start with Guts.
Whatever you'd like to do.
Yes, Guts, the Black Swordsman, the Struggler, the Chad, the Legend, the Goat, is a person defined by his unimaginable, unending stamina. The fact that he never stops fighting, and that becomes a canon part of his power set, literally as time goes on. He is unbelievably strong, unbelievably fast. You would think a guy in big knight armor would be really, really slow. He's not. He is insanely. I said fast. I said durable. I said strong. He has an enormous fucking Dragon Slayer sword, which is not just a giant sword good at cutting things. It's good at other things too. He has tons of weapons, and I think like on his own, I don't think that Guts seems like super crazy impressive, but I think actually interestingly, as impressive as Claire is, as I got to see from reading Claymore, he actually perfectly counters a lot of what she has, and is actually the worst possible opponent that Claire could fight.
Wow.
I mean,
That's
Superman
one
would
way
be-
to end that.
Superman would be worse. Superman would be a worse opponent
Yeah.
for Claire to fight, but Guts is
I can
uniquely
definitely,
advantaged.
I can see like what his advantages are.
Yeah.
From my like limited knowledge of Berserk. So I mean, I get
Yeah.
you, but
He
the
can blow up
speed-
planets. He can. I'm just kidding.
Real
He
quick,
can't
I
blow up
wanted to clarify something. You said he's got a really big sword.
He's got a really
that can
big
do a
sword.
lot of interesting things other
Yes.
than cutting things.
Yes.
The sword can do things other than cut things.
Well, I'll elaborate when we get to it because we're gonna get to a part in the discussion at some point, and I'm
Are
gonna
you
bring it up,
talking
and it's
about
gonna be a
how
big
it can
slam
like
dunk. Don't
hit
spoil
things?
it.
It
It's gonna be really cool when I get to it. It's gonna be
But
like,
how it's just
gonna be a
super heavy?
boom. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. That's precisely.
All right,
It's
Jen,
also
are
hammer.
you
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be
are
great.
you ready to go? 60
Well, I
seconds.
wrote it out. I wrote it out so that but it's not. It's not as like good as his because it's more like plot stuff.
No.
Well,
That's
let's dive
no.
in.
Okay,
Part of
let's
this,
see.
no, part of this is pitching why this is an awesome matchup for people that don't know Claymore. This
Okay.
is important.
Well, I'm going to describe some of the plot of Claymore to you. Before I start, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to change the terminology for any Claymore fans in the chat. I'm not going to call it Yoma. I'm going to call them demons, just to
Yes.
be clearer that way.
That's
I'm not going
fair.
to call it Yoki. I'm going to call it demon energy. It's clearer that way, and I will also get the two of them confused if I don't switch it.
I think that makes sense. I think that's
I don't even know what those two things are, but I
Exactly.
think that
You
makes sense.
don't need
to.
Okay, I got it up. Let's go. Ready? Okay. As a young girl, Claire, held captive by a demon, was rescued by a half-demon warrior named Teresa. She's important. Half-demon warriors are created when demon flesh is implanted inside of them. It's super gross, giving them superhuman strength, senses, speed, and the ability to reattach and sometimes even regenerate limbs using their demon energy. These warriors are called Claymore because of their weapons, which are noted multiple times to be of indestructible materials. Teresa was ranked number 1 among her peers when she is killed by a cheap shot. We'll get to that. Clare has to be made into a warrior using Teresa's flesh. So that makes her actually the weakest of the 47 warriors of her generations. But as the warriors release energy, they increase their power. But if they surpass their limits, they become monstrous awakened beings and lose their human souls in exchange for massive power boosts. Claire passes her limit actually very early in the show, but pulls it back and becomes stronger and stronger throughout there. And her connection to Teresa is incredibly important and one of the reasons why she cannot be beat.
All right.
I
Nice.
don't want to spoil it. but I
Cannot be
have
beat
to.
at all? Because I disagree with that.
Just can never be beaten. Okay. Okay. I did
Like
not
Goku.
know half of that
Claire
stuff,
beat
so I'm actually
Goku?
glad you talked about plot stuff.
So the Claymores, they're not. They all
They're like
have-
witches.
because I guess because you drink a bunch of potions, but
They're
all
called
like,
witches.
they all get demon flesh like put in like they just like do they eat a hunk? Do they like
No,
surgically attach it hunk?
They're surgically cut from trunk to
Sternum to...
sternum, like from neck to
Down the trunk of
Down
the
the
human body.
it's stuffed inside of them and then they're stapled back together. The actual it will never close.
Yes. It's
Like
really
a-
gross
like a-
looking.
Demon
Yeah.
pot pie in a person.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like there might be
Okay.
easier ways to make a half demon, but whatever they gotta do to get strong, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems weird.
So she has demon powers, and if she breaks her limit, that gets released.
Yes, she already has though. She has early in the series. She breaks her limits, but she pulls herself back because when you break your limit, claymores. They'll awaken. They'll become what's called an awakened one, which is like a super demon, like an apostle from Berserk. If
Yeah.
you know Berserk. They're basically apostle.
I think
I
I
thought
saw
you were
something
gonna
about
say,
like you can either when you get awakened, you either become the demon or you can control it, right?
Some very few claymores can pull themselves back. And like Claire, she's
like one of 4.
she's partially awakened for most of the
Yeah.
series.
I
So
have
she
a chart.
has like
I assumed you were gonna say apostles from the Bible, but also
It's
Right.
exactly like the
Um,
apostles from the Bible.
but,
Remember when they got cut in half and put demon guts stuck inside
then
them?
Yeah.
That was my
Right.
favorite
a
chapter.
couple questions. When
Yeah.
so does that make Claire a quarter demon?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
I was running out of time, so I skipped that part.
When
Yeah. That's why she's the weakest
okay.
of the claymores initially.
So, but is she like genetically demon? Because doesn't Guts have things that specifically like seek out and hurt? Like, doesn't he have powers specific to like demon hunting?
She's a demon
Does it-
hunter as well, and the reason that they have the demons implanted in them is to give them the powers to identify them, seek them out, and kind of want like. Let me show you my chart.
Let's see the chart.
This is
Oh
the
my
power
Okay,
chart.
okay.
Yeah.
What
So
are we
we've
looking at
got-
here?
We're
Okay.
looking at a power level chart.
You have Lamal
So we've
humans
Humans at the bottom,
who suck.
Soma, demons.
They're
I should have
Demons.
Demons.
Yeah.
abyssal ones, which are
Awakened beings are
awakened
first,
beings. Awakened
Yes.
beings are first, and then we've got the half awakened beings over here,
like Claire.
and then we've got abyssal ones, which are awakened beings but better.
Their abyssal ones are specifically claymore, like the number 1 ranked claymores from their
Yeah.
generations that awaken. So they're like the strongest awakened beings from a generation.
So when
There are
they
like
awaken,
6 of
they
them.
go bad 90% of the
Yeah,
time.
they
or something
become
that?
like crazy demons that eat.
It's it's like they lose their soul or something. It's a hate love type situation. Like their
Yeah.
power comes
Yeah.
from how much they hate other demons. And so the more they hate, the more that builds up, and then they kind of just explode. And
that's
their
why
power level
Priscilla
comes from that.
Is the
That's
one
why
that's is the
Priscilla's
strongest
up
abyssal
there.
one because she was a claymore that like fucking super hated demons.
Real quick.
And Teresa.
awakened it.
Real quick before we continue, I'm seeing a couple people in the chat asking like, is this demon thing a weak spot? It is not a
No.
specific weak spot, right?
No,
It is
I don't
just
think so.
like this like slice down the neck.
it's a
Not
scar.
like a weak spot.
It's a
like
scar.
a scar.
It's like congealed and stuff. There's one point where hers reopens, but normally they don't close ever. Like it's always gonna look gross.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
if
just
they
like a
lose
scar.
their,
It's not like
you can
something
kill,
Guts can be
you
like,
kill
oh, that's a weak
claymores.
spot.
You can kill claymores, but nobody ever goes for the weak spot. But then above the abyssal ones, there are those above the abyssal ones. And that's what
good
they're
shit.
called.
Yeah.
It's not confusing at all. That's where Priscilla is.
The TAAOs?
Sure.
The TATAOs?
Sure.
There's a lot of
the Tatos?
there's a lot of like, oh, that person surpasses the abyssal one, and I'm like, okay.
That sounds about right. That's Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan kind of thing. Super Saiyan Blue. Or
It's
Super
very
Saiyan
Dragon
God,
Ball
Super
Z.
Saiyan Blue. Yeah.
And and the reason why Teresa was so badass and so powerful, and this is actually Claire, like, despite being physically weaker than Teresa, mimics Teresa's, like, essentially her tech. Because each Claymore has a thing that they specialize in, a special demon energy technique that they focus on. It's very anime.
Okay, real quick, I got to call out the chat. It is not a weak spot, guys.
It's not
we
a weak
already
spot,
established that. It's not a weak spot.
Not a weak, it's just a scar. What made her so powerful was that she is incredibly good at sensing demon energy. So much so that she can kind of almost predict what they're going to do, because like if like a demon is going to like punch you really hard, their demon energy goes into their arm and right before they punch you, and Teresa can sense that better than like almost any claymore. There's a part where she's fighting a bunch of other claymores, like Elena and the ones that get fucking destroyed. And Elena's like, yeah, the ones that don't matter, the Priscilla fodder, and they're like, Elena's like, actually, she's not stronger than you, she's not faster than you, and she's not more agile than you. She can sense energy, and she can do that so well that it's as if she was better than us in those categories, but she's not. And Claire, what makes Claire special is that that's what she focuses on in order to keep up, because physically she is the weakest Claymore. Mm-hmm. Why I bring this up, because that sounds like an advantage, that sounds like a neat ability. Why I bring this up, Guts isn't a demon. Doesn't have demon energy. That and all the other Claymore abilities that rely on sensing demon energy, like the ones that it's called Yoki synchronization, where if you synchronize your energy with them, you can control their movements and stuff. None of that. It's super awesome that Claire has that. It's only good against Claymores and other demons. It would not work against Guts. I think that's a big.
What about the
Berserker
armor?
Has.
Is that not
Berserker
demon related? Am I mistaken?
No, it's you might be thinking of the fact that it's like bathed, and the Dragon Slayer is bathed in so much like demon blood that it has a unique ability that we can talk about at some point, but it is not like key. It is not a key source. There is Odd in Berserk, which is kind of a key, a stand-in, but humans in Claymore don't have demon energy. And Claire, like, she remember the part with the priests. He's like, I'm gonna sense to see if you have
that's
demon
very
energy.
Early on in the story, though. So at the end, like the thing with Priscilla. So Priscilla is the final, like, she kills Teresa again with a cheap shot, and so from that point on, Claire hates Priscilla. She hates herself for letting Claire die. Or for Teresa die. She thinks that she's the cause of Teresa's death. But she hates Priscilla so much, and that drives her forward. But the thing about Priscilla, when she shows up, remember? And Teresa's like, oh, your demon energy is so low. You keep it so tight up that I cannot sense anything in you. But she's still, like, even though Priscilla is so tight on that, they're still like, oh, Teresa would still win. Like, the only reason Teresa loses against Priscilla is not, like, because she can't sense anything on Priscilla. She loses because she gives, like, she's like, oh, I don't want to kill this child.
Well, no, that's not why I think it's actually, I disagree. The reason why she loses is because she's about to kill Priscilla. Priscilla's like, kill me before I go too far. Please do it. She's about to do that. And then Priscilla awakens into an awakened being, and her Yoki skyrockets immediately, faster than Teresa can react, and then she cuts Teresa's head off. So it isn't that, like,
I mean, I give up. I have seen this scene. She's caught off guard because she's not expecting that to happen.
Yeah, she is.
It's not just she's
But the
faster than her thing.
reason that she hesitates and the reason she doesn't kill Priscilla in time is because she doesn't want to kill a child.
Yeah. That's what they say, that Teresa's like, her spirit has softened and she's like not willing to, like, because she had an opportunity to kill Priscilla earlier in the fight,
multiple times,
didn't take it multiple
times,
and she was like, "Don't,
yeah.
I'm going to do it." What I'm saying with the demon energy thing, that doesn't mean that Claire can't fight Guts or anything like that. It's not like she doesn't shoot demon energy out of her hand and that wouldn't hurt Guts. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like the core of her game plan is thrown into whack by Guts. It's not like she can't fight Guts. It's just a big disadvantage.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that, like, it's not like she's not used to, like, the way you're saying it.
Yeah, she could fight
she's not
humans.
used to fighting people with low demon energy. It's like, no, Priscilla never, like, rarely do they ever sense any demon energy out of Priscilla.
Real quick, this demon energy thing, how does is it basically just like Ki from a typical kind of shonen show, or is there something special?
It's they can direct it into like different limbs and stuff.
And she has like a spidey sense for it, right?
Yes, she can tell where it's moving.
Yeah.
In other people, so it's like, oh, she directed it all into her arm, and so now I know that arm is coming for me.
Yeah,
and the energy is specific to demons. It is
yes
their life energy. I'm assuming, or is it some like magic that they're bestowed with?
It's
it's life force.
It's Ki, but for demons only.
Okay, and then by becoming part demon, they get their own demon energy that they can
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they go too far, then
so
and
they
can have like percentages of like 10% demon energy.
Claire would need to rely on
if we were to sort. If this is classic versus problem here, right? Like there's this like energy source that's a big thing in one world and not in the other. So if we were to like give Claire the benefit of the doubt, demons in the Berserk universe would have this demon energy potentially.
But Guts doesn't.
Would the brand on Guts come into play in any way? It is not necessarily
a demon. It just attracts demons.
It just attracts demons.
Yeah.
So would she be able to sense that?
I will give Liam the fact that it's not just the sensing, it's the direction.
Yeah.
It's the directing of movement.
And because Guts doesn't have any that's course. He has
it's
odd,
like the
which
force.
Is like
it's understanding how the energy is moving with
it. It's
exactly.
like, this is the arm is coming for me because that's where I feel the energy coming from.
She essentially just be relying on just her eyesight, which is still great. It's still that's not a bad thing, but it's
so.
The thing that
are
makes
there any
special
examples of Claire defeating somebody who's really skilled and powerful who isn't a demon?
No.
They're all
they don't kill humans. If they kill humans, then they get.
That's gonna make this a little tricky though, right? Because like if her main power, or if one of the main powers that she uses to defeat the most powerful creatures that she fights isn't even a factor here, like we're now technically unable to tell how fast she would be or strong she would be against Guts, right?
No, you can still measure you can still see how fast she is by the things that she does.
Yeah,
but
so
it just doesn't. Yeah, go on.
They're superhuman because that's why the chart is important.
Because
as they go higher, they become faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like because it's like there's at one point where Claire has a skill called a quick sword and a wind cutter, which is where her arm, her sword arm, and she also, whenever she awakens, her legs become what is it called whenever the knee switches? Like a horse.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Like a horse knee, like a reverse knee, whatever that's called.
Like inverts.
Yeah. So she's got like whenever she awakens her legs, she can actually awaken different body parts instead of her entire being at one time.
Yeah.
So she awakens her legs, and she becomes super fast. And then she's got her wind cutter and her quick sword. But as you get higher, she becomes so fast that the other people on her power level cannot see what she's doing. Like she is going so fast that they cannot perceive her.
Mm-hmm.
So as Guts is he's a human, like he's a super powerful human, but he is still human. I cannot imagine he would be able to perceive her speed.
Here's the thing though. Guts is capable of doing that faster than eyesight stuff as early as the Golden Age arc, which in Berserk is when Guts is very young and still hasn't even gotten the Dragon Slayer yet. He's like it's essentially the prologue to the series. And other characters like Griffith are capable of matching him when he's like an adolescent and doing this faster than eyesight stuff.
Lucas
Then he
in the
fights
chat
Griffith.
mentions Guts fights against Sonic opponents like the Moth Girl.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get to that. Yeah, when he fights Griffith later on in the Golden Age arc, still the prologue, he moves so fast that Griffith can't even see him. So we're getting that same kind of speed build up as early as the prologue of the series,
That's
and then you get to
comparing
stuff.
Griffith to a super-powered half-demon, which Griffith is also just a person.
At that point, yeah, but they're people that can move faster than eyesight. Like I'm saying, like if we're comparing,
Well, I'm just
characters that can
saying
move
that
faster
what
than
I'm
eyesight,
saying is she can move faster than the eyesight of other half demons.
that's Griffith. That's Griffith in this analogy,
But
and
she
that's
is
still
it?
in the prologue. Because then you get to
Is-
characters like Rosine that can move so fast they can create sonic booms, and then we get to characters like Ganishka who can fire lightning bolts that Guts can dodge. He dodges the leaders of the lightning bolts, in fact, which can move up to a third the speed of light. Now that's with the Berserker armor, but it's not with the Berserker armor activated, which means that he still gets a boost past that to move even faster.
It's
So
not.
I would say,
okay.
even conservatively, he'd be able to match Claire's speed. And depending on how you analyze, like how fast that lightning bolt was, like it looked like the leader of the lightning bolt to me, but it's because the way they depict lightning is sometimes not consistent with how lightning actually is. But it could be even faster than what Claire's capable. Aha! Aha!
Okay. Well, okay. So we
Claire
got
can also
comparable
reattach
speed.
limbs.
Yeah.
And now we get to the part that I was gonna. Okay, I'm being obnoxious.
This is an anime only
This
is
only
true.
scenario, but can Guts survive in a volcano?
Yeah, he should be able to. Yeah,
He
What?
should
No,
be
he
able
can't.
to.
yeah.
In the
If he can-
Berserker armor, maybe.
He can survive. He can survive.
I will admit this
same
is an
with
anime only part,
Ganishka's
but the
lightning
final
bolts.
battle takes place in a volcano.
Yes. Just in a volcano? Yeah, a
An
human being can
erupting
survive in it.
volcano.
Yeah. Not
Like it's
like.
an active volcano.
Yeah. You could still. Yeah. Ganishka's lightning bolts. Can strike with enough energy, which Guts like tanks a bunch of them. He both dodges and tanks them. Are so powerful they can vaporize apostles. Essentially, apostles are the equivalent of the awakened ones in Berserk. And they're powerful enough that they can, like, he says, I can, in fact, I pulled this, Brian, could you bring up image 3, por favor? There you go. This is Ganishka, he's a big, like, ultra giga chad apostle. It's a little blurry, I don't know if you can see, but in the top right, he says, my lightning has incinerated, 9 incinerates reincarnated apostles, yet you survive after receiving this much of it. He like essentially just ass blasts that's with like a shit ton of lightning. So regular lava, not a big deal.
Pull up that chart
Regular
again.
lava.
Because you keep saying very specifically, awakened beings. We're not. This is no longer a thing. We're up here. She's up here.
Yeah.
She's super strong.
We can talk about
sense.
the level of power. We can compare. Levels
Okay,
of power.
I do want to really quick pause on this,
Yes.
Liam.
Yes.
Where is your chart?
My chart is in my head. I didn't need to
Where
write
it
this down.
always is.
Jen has a
Oh,
chart.
Me too.
I'm gonna give you a
here.
minute to make up a chart as I'm going to we're
This
gonna
is
take a quick
your
break to
address.
talk
Chart
about
right
our
here.
sponsor for this week's episode. Okay, when we're done with it, I hope you have a chart ready. All right, this episode of Death Metal Cast is sponsored by Factor. Summer is a time for relaxing, not grocery shopping, cooking, and doing tons of dishes. With Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery, I can rest easy knowing that I can eat well without the work. Plus, they have a lot of balanced and delicious add-ons like smoothies, shakes, and snacks that are perfect for staying on track all summer. Factor makes it easy to eat well for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between, with ingredients that are fresh, never frozen, meals that are so delicious you won't believe they're so nutritious. And if you've got a busy summer planned, no worries, Factor is flexible. Change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week to keep you covered when your schedule gets crazy. Honestly, I just got the box recently, and I wasn't sure what to expect when Factor showed up, but I'm very impressed with just how much I got in a single box. And it's freaking great. So head to go.factor75.com/cast120 and use the code cast120 to get $120 off. That's code cast120 at go.factor75.com/cast120 for $120 off. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show, Factor. Hope you're enjoying this crazy sword battle. Let's get back to it.
Do we get to use these codes?
That's my chart.
Sure.
Boom.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You got
What-
Claire at the bottom there.
What am I
Claire at the
reading
bottom.
here?
got
Okay,
Claire at the
Claire, and then
you
is
have,
under
like,
infinity,
Infinity,
then
there's,
guts,
like,
and then
some
under
distance,
infinity plus one,
and then infinity
and
plus
then
one, got
you
up there. Yeah,
is
which not
100 and
necessary to the
1,500 times faster than light. You're
Yeah,
100.
exactly.
You're 1,500 times faster than light.
Yeah.
Brian,
Can you
can we
prove
bring up
this?
my screenshot?
Yeah. We're going for this.
Because we're gonna talk about Teresa.
Okay.
All right,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
What?
The screen cap of Liam admitting that Guts wins or Guts loses.
Huh? What's that?
Oh,
What's that? Whoa! I never said that.
No, I have another one. I updated it for you. I'm sorry. Yeah, the newest one. I don't know if you guys can read.
I cannot
What's
read
that?
it on my screen.
It says, I'm about 5 volumes from finishing my read through, and while I admittedly don't know a lot about Guts, I'm sorry. I find it hard to imagine Claire doesn't stomp. And Liam says, it feels, haha, yeah, I am in agreement so far, especially with Claire awakening into Teresa.
What?
Yes, I love
Brian?
it. Look,
Okay,
Liam pulled
I
this
just-
shit on me, so I'm
I
so
just
glad
want
that
to
this is
say.
happening.
I just want to say, like okay.
You had finished it because you talked about
Let me
Teresa.
hang on. Let me take a screenshot of myself. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Boop. There you go. Brian, could you bring up the image 5 that I just sent you right there in Slack? Yeah. You edited that original one. You said you find it hard to imagine Guts doesn't stomp.
What is happening
Complete
here?
lies.
That is a lie.
Complete lies, Jen. I can't believe you would edit my own. I can't believe you would edit our chat just to
Wait.
get an edge.
Wait,
Complete bullshit. Deception. Deception.
you know only you can
And if
edit
you-
your
and
own
if you look
message,
at-
right?
And if you look at no, I didn't edit anything. I didn't edit a single thing.
That's why it says edited next to it.
Yeah,
I did
that
edit
was,
it.
That was her message. That was her message that said edited next to it.
It does. And the reason I edited it is because I added I'm sorry to Chad.
Yeah. No, it doesn't say that. I'm sorry to say. I don't know why you added 2 Y's there. Kind of weird, but the message clearly reads, I'm sorry to say. I mean, in this
I don't
screenshot,
know,
the
Liam.
Photoshop
This is
version,
very,
but if you bring up
and I hate to use this term, sus.
yeah,
But
I
also,
agree. Jen, it's very sus.
according to the chat,
very sus.
Jen's chart is 58% better than yours.
That's incorrect.
Ooh, effort.
But if we want to get back to the real debate without any of this screenshot
Yeah.
editing, Jen, that you've clearly been doing behind our backs, so deceptive.
Wow.
You said that
is that what
Claire
you spent?
could-
That's why your chart
said
sucks
that,
because you spent.
Claire-
Because no, I should not have. I should. Okay, let's talk. Remember, I said, Liam, I don't want to send this screenshot because that would not be fair to you. So you used it against me.
No, I didn't. What? We never had this
I
discussion.
gave you a warning.
We didn't have this discussion at all before the
We
chat.
did.
No, well, this is complete. This is chicanery. Anyways, let's get back to the real stuff. No, we
Liam
didn't,
just
man.
tried to one up
Everyone is
everybody.
lying. Everyone's lying because they're against me. And
Wow,
and I want you guys to take that
okay.
into consideration when you do your votes. That everyone is.
Man, it's too
biased
bad that Chad
and
isn't
bad.
here and able to actually do. And then we could just have Chad and Jen here, and we could have like a
Exactly.
civil conversation.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to argue for both characters. I wanted to
You
give
have
information
been
for
like
both
there was a
because
part where I was like,
Yeah.
you do know you're
yeah,
supporting
and Chad
Guts,
couldn't
right?
make it.
All right, let's talk about Teresa because I know you
Let's-
wanted to talk about it.
No,
Jen.
I wanted to talk about something.
No, it's Jen's turn now. You've talked a lot.
I'm out of breath. So Teresa is important, and there's a lot of people on the YouTube that I noticed that were talking about. Well, if you bring in Teresa, into the factor that like it's really hard for Claire to lose. So the whole thing with if you release too much of your demon energy, and like I said, the demon energy is fueled by hate. It's like talked about multiple times as people are doing the Dragon Ball Z thing where they're like, oh, that fight, we should not interfere. As they're doing that throughout the entire manga, they're talking about how the more hateful they are, the more powerful they are. And something that Guts and Claire both have in common is insurmountable will. Really, right, Liam?
Yes.
So a lot is said about her insurmountable will and her love for Teresa. And the fact that she has Teresa inside of her, making her 1/4, is her weakness, but it's actually her greatest strength, because whenever she awakens finally against Priscilla, she turns into Teresa. And Teresa reemerges. And you know it's still Claire because she's still got her symbol. She even has her like, Claire loses an arm and then she gets a new arm because she can reattach limbs. That's cool.
We kind of skimmed over that last when you mentioned it, but that's pretty. That sounds pretty important.
So
here.
yeah, she has another arm, like a more powerful,
it's very important,
more powerful arm. So then she becomes Teresa. She has Teresa's skill. She also has the skills of another warrior that she's absorbed throughout the story. So she has her fighting style. Something about Claire is that she's incredibly observant. So she spends, like, she's very clever and very observant. She, like, uses tricks to, like, compensate for her weaknesses. And that all coalesces into Teresa having all of those skills that she has observed or absorbed throughout the 7 years of the story. But the most important part is at the end when she defeats Priscilla by atomizing her with her sword.
What?
She's just like, okay, I'm gonna kill you now. And she's like, okay. She could have. So Priscilla actually becomes stronger every time every time she regenerates, Priscilla becomes stronger. That is something unique to Priscilla. And so throughout the entire fight, Teresa keeps lopping things off, and people are shouting from the edges, like, "Stop doing that! You're making her stronger." And then she's like, okay, fine. Priscilla finally comes to, and she's like, okay, I'm ready to end this. And then Teresa's just like, okay, we're done. And then Teresa just atomizes all of Priscilla without like, barely moving.
How?
She cuts her.
She cuts her apart.
The sword has the ability to atomize things?
No, she moves so fast.
I need to clarify. It is not Sam is completely silent. I can't hear what you're saying.
Can't hear you at all.
I forgot I was muted because the dogs bark. So she cuts her so fast, and so she like cuts her down into atoms, or like
she cuts her
so
into
hard.
dust.
She cuts her into dust.
Yeah, she cuts her into dust.
That's what I was going to
say. To the point where
With,
she
like that many
Priscilla
slashes.
can regenerate ridiculously,
but not dust.
Is this like demon energy doing it, or is it she swings the sword so hard that it hits with enough force to atomize her?
There's no like projection of demon energy in this.
No,
she just swings the sword so fast that she just like
that just disintegrates an ultra demon
because
being above awakened or whatever it was.
Because those above
an
Abyssal ones,
or whatever it was. Yes.
Because and the thing, a lot of people were also saying that you can't say that Teresa and Claire, like this is about Claire versus Guts, but the thing is Teresa says that I am not alive again. This is you. And actually, I have the exact quote.
It's Claire using Teresa's power, right?
It's
essentially what
she said.
She like transforms into Teresa, but it's specifically her memory of Teresa.
She also, Teresa looks at Claire and is like, the person that I was before I died would not have been able to defeat Priscilla as she is now. I did that because you believed in me so much that I became this powerful. Like this is your power. Like this is your will and your love for me. Became so strong.
It is not Teresa. It is just Claire essentially mimicking
Claire's awakened.
Teresa.
So this is something that we also talked about with Claire's name. Is Claire's name special? Claire and Teresa are also the twin goddesses, which is like a statue that is referenced often throughout the story. And so it coincidentally, Teresa and Claire share their names.
Teresa names Claire. He gives her
She
the name
says that Claire says that her name was always Teresa, or it was always Claire.
Oh.
Claire says her name was always Claire.
She just guessed it.
She just guessed it. Yeah,
Wow.
it's convoluted, but it doesn't
Interesting.
matter.
Okay.
But so there's a character named Galatea who does the Yoki sensing thing, the demon energy sensing, and everyone looks at Teresa because once Claire awakens, Claire's awakened form is Teresa, and then Teresa awakens into Teresa's awakened form, which is like an angel. And then Galatea is like, oh, Galatea is blind by this point. She cuts out her own eyes. And she's
hardcore, okay.
she's like, oh, what do you see? What is that in front of me? And they're like, oh, it just looks like Teresa with wings. And she's like, oh, it looks like a human because that's not what I see. So she actually senses her truest form, which is Claire.
Claire has two awakened states.
She once she first awakens, she becomes just Teresa in her outfit. Mm-hmm. And then Teresa awakens again.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's like, oh, I feel the same, but my legs are lighter.
So it is like Super Saiyan God to Super Saiyan Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
She's like, my legs feel lighter, but my back is heavy. And it's like Claire is behind her and she's got wings now.
Oh, okay.
So it is like, you cannot say, like, I do not think that you can say, anyone can say whatever they want, but Teresa is Claire.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But there's an important, or Ben, you go.
Well, go ahead.
Okay.
It's finally your turn, Liam.
Yes.
What do you want to say?
So we mentioned this earlier about claymore regeneration. That they can reattach limbs and regrow limbs over like a longer period of time. Regrowing limbs isn't really, and especially Claire doesn't specialize in that, isn't like a super combat effective. One of them can do it really well.
Piccolo style?
Like reattaching limbs?
Yeah.
So it's not reattaching, it's like Piccolo style.
No, but there's also reattaching.
Yeah.
The pop one out takes a lot longer. And
Claire can't. Claire takes a really long time to do the popping out.
Yeah.
Because she's an offensive type. There's offensive and defensive type claymores.
Yeah, okay.
And so she's offensive, so she can reattach limbs very easily. That's why she loses her arm and it gets disintegrated, and then she gets another person's arm and she reattaches that.
So could she take Guts' arms? That's cool. That would be fun.
The great thing about it, though, the great thing about the regeneration thing is that none of it fucking matters, because Guts' Dragon Slayer has bathed in so much demon blood that it doesn't just cut you physically, it cuts you on the astral plane and prevents characters that can regenerate, like Slan, who's like a fucking god hand.
Are we just Muramasa-blading it?
And prevents them from regrowing limbs, unless you're healed by like a witch who like re-stitches your arm.
So that's like the Muramasa
you
blade
called them witches
Marvel.
earlier. Like,
hang on,
Witcher, I said Witcher.
Isn't that specific to like those types of demons though? Does it also work on just like people?
It works on
have healing properties.
Yeah.
Is the astral plane like
astral plane is the thing that applies to every living being in the universe? It's your soul. Okay. It cuts your soul. That's the idea.
Okay.
So that reminds me. I do not know Berserk very well.
Yes.
But that does remind me of the Muramasa blade from Marvel, where it's like you can cut, if you cut somebody, then it cannot, like their healing factor cannot do that, cannot go beyond that. Right?
Sure.
That's what it is?
Yeah, that's probably. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with that, but that sounds basic.
Well, the solution they provide, the solution they provide in the it's a Wolverine thing. The solution they provide is just cut slightly higher, and that's the thing that Claire also does. Like her arm gets lopped off here, and then she loses the rest of her arm. And then whenever the person comes to her and is like, "I'm gonna give you your arm," or I'm gonna give you my arm. She just goes up to her and she's just like, I'm just going to cut you right here. And then you can have my arm and then reattach it from a higher position. So if you have an astral cut like that from like the Muramasa blade or this whatever sword that you're talking about, just cut them higher and then you can regenerate from there.
Like, in the middle of a fight?
She's super fast. She'll run away.
Guts is faster. Remember?
I don't know if we established that he's faster, but that they're definitely close. So you're saying
I didn't hear anything
else. I'm not entirely sure how the astral thing would work here, because from what I recall, the reason why it matters in Berserk is he's able to basically attack demons and monsters in a way that they would be invulnerable to a mortal weapon, right? Like a weapon that can't. Most weapons can't actually kill certain demons, right? But his can because it can go through
No,
the astral
you
plane.
can kill apostles with regular swords. His original sword, before he got the Dragon Slayer, his original swords were able to kill demons. It's that it prevents like demons that can like regenerate from healing. It's an anti-healing factor that it has because it cuts your soul. So you need to be able to regenerate your soul. For that.
Okay, soul, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, the astral plane
So-
is just your soul. That's the idea.
But is Claire's healing tied to her soul? Or is it tied to
it's
that
tied to
demon
her
energy?
energy. It's tied to her energy.
Is the demon energy an equivalent to like a soul? I mean, we did mention it was life energy.
It
before.
is equivalent to a soul because she mentions that when she attaches Elena's arm to her, she is like dealing with Elena's
She
demon
knows,
energy.
yeah.
And,
She
and
knows
Elena's
that it's not
consciousness.
her arm.
Yeah. And specifically refers to it as like a separate
Okay.
entity.
But it's
Other
also
thing.
there's the fact that it still could be the demons that the demon energy is the energy of the demon that was implanted in the claymores to make them who they are. That's part of the reason why Teresa is still around, is because her demon energy is what powers, like the demon inside of Teresa comes out of Teresa into Claire, like a Russian doll. So it's the demon energy, and the demon energy is separate from the Claymore's soul because it's not native to that body. And that's part of the reason why the cut never heals. So the demon energy is not the soul of the Claymore.
Interesting. This is definitely something that would require a lot of like going between different aspects of the stories to see exactly how it would relate.
It's good. If nothing else, guys, if nothing else, I know I just spoiled the damn ending of this beautiful story. If nothing else, I know I spoiled the best parts of it. Read Claymore, please.
Yeah.
I don't care if you vote for
It's
me.
great.
I don't
It's great.
care. It's great.
I had
Well-
only one other point I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
And did you have okay. Do you want to talk about power? Because we've emphasized how powerful Teresa is, and I completely agree. Teresa is a fucking beast. She's a
The
Chad,
fact that she
is
can
badass.
hit a super demon, a super ultra demon so hard it
Yeah.
just turns to dust.
Yeah.
Sounds like way more than anything Guts can do.
I'm not gonna
That's
affect you on that.
amazing. So, Guts fights Zod many times. Guts is able to hurt
Mhm.
Zod without even his Dragon Slayer when he's a lot weaker. But when he gets his Dragon Slayer, he's able to really hurt Zod. And they have multiple duels across the series, so they scale. Like Guts's strength is equivalent to Zod's durability. I wanted to bring up a scan, and this is image number 1, Brian, the first one I sent you, of what Zod was at the epicenter of, which was this. And it's a little hard to tell from the scan, but that bottom white tree tentacle thing is essentially the size of like several mountains stacked on top of each other. It is absolutely gigantic. It is so big that its feet obliterate cities every time it takes a footstep. And it was at the epicenter of an explosion. This is essentially the beginning of the Fantasia arc that creates a storm that sized. And Zod is right there. You can't see him because this is an environmental shot, but he is right there at the center of it, and he survives that amount of force whipping. This is and it doesn't even just fuck up like these many like hundreds of kilometers of clouds. It affects the entire planet, but a lot of that is not quantifiable. It warps the entire planet, but what we're looking at is just this massive, gigantic, like into the atmosphere sized storm that Zod is at the center of. And when you calc it out, it comes out to like I think it's like a couple of megatons of TNT, which is enough to like blow up a fucking city. Like that's and based on what we see in Claymore, that is in excess of what the most powerful characters can do in Claymore, by a couple orders of magnitude. So I think Guts would be more than capable of hurting Claire and surviving her attacks. Power feat like that.
How powerful are these beings above awake? I can never remember what the top rank one is.
Those
Above
above
the abyssal
ones.
ones.
Yes,
Yeah.
The one at the top of the chart. Like, would they not be in around that level or higher where they could like destroy a city?
They never get large enough to Like they're not very large. Like they're city size.
Like if they punched the ground with all of their force, could they create an earthquake that would affect an entire city?
Yeah, there's a lot of like environmental destruction. Again, it's very shonen of like, oh, we're not getting involved in that. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I felt that across the continent, in terms of battles and stuff.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
Galatea, it's not like the shockwaves. Galatea senses
She
the demon
senses
energy
things, yeah,
from
that's
across the continent.
Yeah.
She's
We
just
never
like,
see
whoa,
something.
those guys
It is
are
true.
really
We never
powerful.
see
But
something
is there
to that
ever a
scale.
force that shakes like a city or anything like that?
They shake cities. They don't shake planets, but they shake cities.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that
There's
potentially
environmental
puts her
destruction
pretty
out the
close.
wazoo.
That's
Like,
not, no.
Claymore doesn't
Shockwave,
strike me as a series that is going to have a feat where like Claire swings her sword and a whole city gets wiped out.
But
yeah,
cut a mountain in half. Do they ever cut a mountain in half with one of those classic shonen bit?
no.
No.
They
I
do.
looked specifically for stuff.
They
They
do
like
a lot
bust
of
out of-
like.
They break through walls and stuff. Like
They
I
break
know,
through
like
walls and stuff, and they also like move so fast that it's like there's a lot of shots of like I'm gonna come at you, and then the next shot is the demon like cut in half.
Yeah.
There's a lot
don't
of
actually
that
see
classic
that.
stuff, but
Mhm.
no.
Okay. Okay. I mean, if they're able to like shake and affect cities, that still potentially puts them close to what you're talking about, Liam.
No, earthquakes, you'd be surprised. Earthquakes are like only like an average like level like magnitude 5 earthquake, 5 or 6 is like I think it's like 10 or so tons of TNT versus like a million, that's a megaton. It's
Depends on the
it's
earthquake.
surprising. It depends on what it is. It depends on what it is. But I don't think shaking that isn't enough.
It could potentially. So all right, we're gonna get to the vote. We've got this is really interesting. Obviously,
I'm
of
trying to make
course,
sure I didn't miss anything on my chart.
love the chart. We do have
Can
to
the
get to this
sword
though.
be broken?
No.
The
Right.
sword cannot be
Dragon
broken.
Slayer?
You said
Yeah.
it's
Ooh, probably not.
I mean like
It's
you just
Has it
explicitly-
ever been broken? I don't think it's ever
It's
been
It's
broken.
explicitly stated that her sword. I just wanted to make sure that I covered that. It's explicitly stated her sword cannot be broken.
Okay. So obviously this is a death battle cast. We are not here to like definitively decide who wins. If you think this episode deserves to be a death battle where we really dive into all this crazy stuff, because there's clearly been a lot of things that have been brought up that would take some time to really like dive into to compare correctly. I would love to hear from you all. Let us know. Share this video around. Let's see what this
Before the
what
vote,
this matchup could
let's
be.
just remind everybody that Liam said that Claire wins.
And let's also remind that was an edit that Jen
It was
made.
not.
All right,
And that the
all right,
real
all right.
screenshot
We're gonna
I
start
shared-
with
Complete
some
chicanery.
community answers from the YouTube community tab to see what you guys had to say
Slippin'
about the
Jenny.
matchup.
Slippin'
Go ahead and bring it up.
Jenny.
Sam,
Better Call Saul.
do you want to read these because these two are too
Yeah.
wild at the moment?
I just want to see Guts be happy for once.
I'm sure
Red
they would be
Pyramid,
happy
that's
together.
fair. Yeah.
Claire's a very nice
I
person.
was taking a drink of
No,
water.
He's, only,
I almost
he's
sprayed it
committed
everywhere.
to Casca. He's committed
Claire
to Casca.
is
No,
such a. She's,
I don't
she's
even
a
know
very
what
nice
happened
lady.
with this. The guy just said, "I want to see Guts be happy." There was
I
no
can't
shipping
tell-
involved in the comments.
Is that
Y'all
the
just went
argument
deep
for or
fast.
against Gus?
I
Is
mean,
that like,
the argument is that he
No,
wants
the guy
Gus
just
to be
wants
happy.
to see Guts
by
be
They
happy.
would
killing
just be
him?
friends
Like by
because she's,
putting him
she's
out of his
very
misery?
nice. She's like they're
Okay,
constantly talking about how nice she is.
Let's bring up the other answer.
So
Misspells
Claire can
Claire,
move her
right off the
sword.
bat.
Okay, all right. Claire can move her sword or her sword arm at supersonic speeds, predict her enemy's movements, and literally fly. Guts has his armor that'll hold his body together until he bleeds out. Yeah, I do think.
We didn't
there
talk
is
about
a-
her flying.
She's wings.
Oh, right. We talked about the wings. Yeah,
That's
Gus
the
get into
awakening.
that.
Guts fights
Okay.
enemies that can fly.
The
Cuisine.
poll is up. You can start voting right now. It's time to get our votes in, but first we're going to get the poll from the YouTube community tab and see what the initial votes were like. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
Oh,
Holy shit. Okay,
Jesus
Guts
Christ.
has 88% of the
Wow,
votes.
wow,
I
they
mean,
just don't know. They just have not heard of it.
to be fair, Berserk is certainly a more popular series. I
Which I
think we
can't
can all
believe
agree on
it's
that.
like the first time anyone's can accurately say that Berserk is a more popular series than something.
I don't know. I think especially the last like 5 years or so, I think Berserk
It
become-
has had a
like
has
comparing
become
it to
more
something
popular.
like
Yeah, it's
Naruto or
research.
Dragon Ball, sure.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's pretty freaking popular.
Look,
Yeah, they just
I-
had a new anime when I was working before I started working at Rooster Teeth. They like had a
Yeah,
anime.
they've
That's really
made
bad,
several
though.
movies.
Oh,
and
I know.
whatnot.
It was
Oh
like
yeah,
unspeakable.
not all of them are.
I would
hold
say
on, but-
betrayal.
I would love to see them do like a brotherhood for Claymore, because the anime ending against that volcano shit, which is cool, but it completely misses the theme of the love and hate, which again is like a common thing, but just the way they do it. I don't know how you felt, Liam, but just like seeing Teresa come back was just like, oh man, I loved
It's
it so
heartwarming.
much. Yeah,
Because,
All right,
like,
well,
right,
let's
Teresa
go ahead.
leaves is so
We
sad.
got to start wrapping up, guys. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and get our votes in, or get the last few votes in. Sam, what are you thinking? We got one vote for Guts.
I'm honestly kind of leaning a little towards Claire. I've been a little silent here because I've been going through the respect thread for her to try and learn more, and I kind of think she has it in the bag.
The Claire Respector has a
what's-
couple of inaccuracies.
What's
it's
sold?
gonna take a while.
What's selling you on it?
I mean, in general, it just does seem like she's fast enough. Where it's like, Liam, I get your argument that like, oh, he's so fast that Griffith can't see him. Like, I don't know. I think there's a different level of like demon eyes looking at people. And I'm
He moves
always
so
a
fast
little.
that demons can't see him either.
I'm a little hesitant of, magic lightning, let's call it, in pretty much all of its senses, especially with the liberties manga takes. Whereas Claire does seem to just, in my mind,
It's lightning.
from what I'm reading, be faster. And I think
I'm
that
trying
usually
to find
makes
out
it
what
up.
based means.
Okay. So
okay.
one vote for
All right.
one vote for Claire. I think all that
Okay.
makes sense. I'm a little torn personally. I think I'm gonna lean to Guts. I don't know. I'm really not sure. I think I'm gonna lean towards Guts just because of his tenacity, but I have to admit that is largely because I'm just not familiar enough with Claire and how she
We should do this as an episode.
She's
Figure it out
tenacious.
for real.
exactly. We didn't really
She
talk
has
about
the
it, but
tenacious. She has the tenacity and the innocence and love of a child. Read
I will
Claymore!
say this. I
Yeah,
will say
yeah.
this. I don't think Guts. Yeah. Fine.
I think one of the things that could push us over the edge is Guts' ability to push through whatever shit he needs to, which is what he
Struggler.
typically does in the manga. So again, I agree, Po Senpai. I kind of want to vote for the chart. Fuck it, I'm voting for the chart.
The chart wins!
All right, I'm voting for Claire because of the chart.
Wow. Okay.
My
All right.
thing is
Liam, you should have brought a chart, man.
I will always bring
That's
charts.
right, I
All right,
I
let's
didn't
go
even
ahead.
want to.
Let's go ahead
So
and
much is
get
being
to
asked of me.
your votes as well. We can wrap up the poll and bring up live poll results and see where we're at. Oh boy. Guts with
Oh.
59%, which means we have a tie.
the live poll. You really brought back some points there, Jen. Really getting some people
Yeah,
signed
like
up.
compared to the previous poll, we got really changed
It's
changed
a
the views
three-way
there.
fight between Claire, Guts, and my chart.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well,
is
all
it?
right, we do
Because
have a
then that would
tiebreaker
mean
rule.
that
Let's go
his
ahead and get
vote
this
goes
done
to
real
your
quick.
chart and not-
Brian, a director, is going to be our tiebreaker. Brian,
Y'all got me?
yeah, who
All
are you voting
right.
for?
Hmm.
There he is.
Close. It's
It's
close.
a tough one, right?
It
This is
is.
toughy.
Like,
You can-
I
you
want
can just
both of them
not
to
vote.
win.
I feel
Oh,
like
there a
draws
way
are
to
no
have both of them?
fun. Draws are no fun in these
Correct.
situations.
Draws are no fun.
All right, who you
I'm gonna
got?
go Claire.
Claire wins.
You should
Holy
have
shit.
voted for the chart, and it would have been like more of a three-way tie.
Yeah.
I feel like Claire is fast enough to get Guts to start bleeding, and then smart enough to just like do a Rocky 3 endurance match and just fly away until he bleeds
The
out.
vote's over, so I'm not going to say whether I agree with that
Yep.
or not.
All right.
Well, I guess
All right,
I won,
well,
so I'm not going to fight you.
it's-
Shouldn't have
Uh,
warned
all right,
me that you would share that screenshot. Gave me just.
I got. We got to end this right now, guys.
You
We're
just
over time.
deleted
We're
them.
over time.
You edited the
Mute
chart.
them, Brian. We got to stop them. All right. Thank you all so much. This is obviously seems to go either way at the moment. Honestly, I'd love to try this as a death battle. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Really good job, Liam and Jen. Love what you guys are doing. And of course, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be awesome, and we'll see you all next week. Take care and go watch
Thank you,
this Death
guys.
Battle.
Yeah, go watch it. Good.
Desk of Death Battle, woo.